Now, Michael Guillen, physicist and author of the book, The Null Prophecy. Well, when I see the word prophecy, should we be worried?
Well, we shouldn't be worried about the solar eclipse right now. It's going to be spectacular. But one of the reasons why this total solar eclipse is so significant is that normally that round yellow face of the sun, which we call the photosphere, is what steals the show. But when the moon's shadow comes over, it's just the right size to block out that round part, and it reveals the thing that rings around that. It's the fainter corona. And the corona is the bad boy of the sun, I call it, because every now and again it's given to fits and starts like a 3-year-old, and when it erupts, it's like a 3-year-old flinging food across the kitchen table. It flings out these huge quantities of electrically charged radioactive particles. Most of the time they're not directed at us, but every now and again they are. And the last time that happened was 1859, and it created quite a situation here. It's called the Carrington event. People can Google it, the Carrington event. What happened is that all that radiation struck the Earth with the force of 100 million H-bombs. Wow. That's right, 100 million H-bombs. Now, we only had telegraphs. You know, we had horse and buggies and telegraphs. So it messed with the telegraph. But when it happens again, now that we're electrified and we have the internet, the National Academy of Sciences warns that it'll create trillions of dollars worth of damage, and it'll really wreak havoc on cities all over the planet. And I've actually worked that into the plot of my novel, The Null Prophecy, because people aren't aware of it, but it's a very real danger.
But just to be clear, the solar eclipse today has nothing to do with that massive flare from the corona, right? It's not, no. There's not cause and effect.
Correct, correct. But what it does is it reveals that corona, that outer ring of the sun, which is normally invisible because it's always being kind of overpowered by the disk. So when you see the solar corona, when you see the solar eclipse today, just think of the corona and when that disaster may happen. But no, have fun. It's not going to cause that to happen.
All right, next one, Michael. We'll move on from the solar eclipse. International scientists confirm last year was the hottest on record as we look at a giant iceberg. The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the most, according to the scientists, in nearly 1 million years. How did they measure 1 million years ago? Michael, are you skeptical?
You know, I'm a scientist, so naturally I'm a skeptic. I'm a trained theoretical physicist, and I've been covering the climate for many, many years. You have to be a little bit careful for a couple of reasons. The climate is the most complicated system on Earth to study. There are just hundreds, if not thousands, of feedback cycles that are either negative or positive feedback cycles. And even with supercomputers, it's very difficult to figure out how they all work for and against each other. Now, this report, for example, makes it clear that it's not just greenhouse gases that are to blame for the increased warming, but an El Nino, an unusually strong El Nino. We've been having unusually strong El Ninos the last several years, and the question is why? And that may or may not have anything to do with what we're doing. El Ninos have been around forever. So one needs to be a little bit careful, and there are so many moving parts to this. And also, it's all become so politicized. And as a scientist, I really hate to see that. So there's a whole lot more to the story than just to simply say that the year 2016 was the warmest on record. You have to ask, why is it the warmest year on record? And what are all the moving parts? And even the question of how we measure temperature, whether it's on the ground, in the sea, in the air, through satellites, there's just a lot of complications. So I would really just be very careful about it.
Michael, you are just a fascinating guy to talk to, whether it's about the sun, the climate, whatever. Thank you so much for joining us. I have a feeling you're in Nashville because I saw the Batman building behind you. So I love Nashville.
It's the place to be. We're ground zero. We're ground zero for the eclipse. I can't wait.
And the sun is shining, right? So go out and enjoy it.
Glasses.
There you go. Looking cool in Nashville. Michael, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
He's having fun, isn't he?
Funny.
Coming up, one Missouri lawmaker finally apologized.